Okay, welcome everyone to my experience, the podcast where we dive deep into the life of an individual who have made an impact by sharing their stories and experiences. And I'm your host today, and today we are thrilled to have an incredible guest to our first episode. Our guest today is Mr. Uwem Umana, an educational consultant, a business analyst with over 2 decades of experience, transforming lives across Africa, Europe, and Asia. Mr. Uwem has dedicated his life to helping young people breaking barriers, reach their full potential through power of storytelling. He is a published author, youth leader, mentor, and advocate for personal growth through education. It's an honor to welcome him today to share his experiences, wisdom, and journey with us. So without further delay, I welcome you today, Mr. Uwem, to the show. And it's a great to have you here. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm doing very well. I'm excited to be here. And what about you? How are you doing?
So it's such a pleasure to have you on the show today, and we're truly excited to share your journey. So without much delay, your story has been a diverse one, and you have taught across continent, and you have written some books, and also leading some transformative programs. Before we get into all those today, can you just give us a brief background of a little about your background and how you first get into education and storytelling?
Thank you very much, Joe.
You're welcome.
Excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me to the program. To begin with, I'm from Ibiakuran. That's the name of my village. So I'm tracing myself back to my roots. Ibiakuran is in the Ibom State in Nigeria, the southeastern part of Nigeria.
Yeah.
I did not start off with education, to be honest with you. When I was growing up, the first thing I had wanted to do was to be in education sector. In fact, I wanted to be a dance or drama teacher.
Okay.
But my parents would not want to hear that. They would not want. So it's like drama teacher. What's that? But that was my fun. That was what I was excited about as a young boy growing up. But in my secondary school, I was just doing sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, additional maths, and just sciences because they wanted me to study medicine. Of course, the background we come from. That's the kind of emphasis they place. They wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or this or that. Anyways, I went into the University of Calabar to study at a very young age to go and study geology. And after studying geology for 4 years, I flunked. I didn't do too well, so I was dropped out of school. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go back to school. So this time around, here is the opportunity I've been waiting for to do what I actually always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I filled in what they call JAM form in Nigeria. Yeah. And that is how my journey into education started. I went to go and read education this time around, English education. When I was in university, I won a scholarship. I was a university scholar. I never even knew that there was anything called scholarship before in my entire life, So I went and won a scholarship. And I was just, in fact, in my house where I was going to school at Edo State University in Ekpoma. My house was like a research institute. So many books, storytelling books, because I come from a storytelling culture. My daddy was a chief of his tribes. So now when you are a ruler of your people, they bring cases to you. And some of these cases are sometimes very naughty, Notty, that you need stories to handle it. You need proverbs. You need native wisdom to put it together. Okay. And I grew up under such that environment. So my daddy used to tell me a lot of stories. I used to listen to a lot of stories. So that was how ancient wisdom was passed on to me. That's how I got interaction with story. And I knew that story is such a powerful vehicle to use to communicate education, morals, everything. In fact, there's nothing you do in life today without a storyteller. Nothing, absolutely. Even in today's world, when you talk about digital world, you go to a website, the first thing you see is about us. It's a story. Every people have a story. Every country every organization, every government, there's a story, and that is the power of storytelling. So that is how I got into storytelling. I was born into it, grew up in it, got nurtured in it, and now I'm using it as a way of my communication.
Wow. Wow. That is a brilliant. That is a brilliant one. So you have taught in Asia, in Africa, and Europe and Asia. What has it been most? What has been the most rewarding part of working in such a diverse?
The most rewarding part of working in such a diverse environment is, number one, the wealth it generates for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk about wealth now, I'm talking about the wealth of experience.
Experience, yeah.
Because you cannot go into a shop and say, give me experience of working in Europe, give me experience of working in Asia. Now, when I talk about working in Africa, for example, I work in the hinterland, in the village.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even in a city where you would expect all the infrastructure to be there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have that experience. Now, I also have experience of working in the most sophisticated environment as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've also had the experience of working in inner city schools in the biggest cities in the world, like London.
Yeah.
I've also led education reform projects like the $10 billion education reform project in Abu Dhabi, Education Council. We were one of the first people to lead that education reform. So that is the wealth it has generated for me, the experience of working in different geographical and economic factors. It has helped to shape my thinking. It has helped to make me look at things from 360 degrees perspective. That is what it has done for me.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That is brilliant. Because working in that kind of having traveled that different part of the world, like Asia, Europe, and Africa, that must have been and mixing with other people as well and different cultures too. That
Absolutely.
brilliant experience.
Absolutely.
Wow. So storytelling seems to be at the heart of what you do. How did you discover its power to change life? How did you discover to use storytelling to change lives?
Thank you very much for that question. Now, it started from when I grew up in the village. It started when I was in my father's court, and I used to listen to these stories. How when they used to bring cases, and some of these cases were very tricky cases, and the only thing that could resolve this case was just a parable.
A parable, yes.
They would say, do you remember such and such a person? When it happened to such and such a person, like they would say in law, this is what they did.
Yes.
And that was how the story was resolved. That was how the case was resolved. Or they will bring out a local proverb. Yeah. Even a very simple example. Sometimes they would say, you know what, like goat, you know the goat, the animal. Sometimes when you take the goat to the market,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
and they will tell you that no matter how the goat squeezes the face,
Yeah.
still end up being taken to the market. It will still end up being sold, no
Yes.
matter how the goat squeezes its face. You see what I'm saying? So now that is native wisdom. So
Yes.
what that does to you is that when you're dealing with human beings, okay, and they are not exactly very happy about something, you know that it doesn't matter whether you squeeze your face or not, you have to do what you have to do anyways.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was the impact that my interaction with that storytelling environment did for me. And I now decided to use that now in my communication with my students. Because don't forget that people love stories a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Human beings are naturally speaking very nosy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
They want to hear what happened to such and such a person. You know, say they're just nosy. So when you start telling them about stuff, especially sensational stuff, people's ears begin to open up. If somebody was snoring and sleeping, immediately they start hearing what happened to that person. Do you hear what happened to that person? And he had a Lamborghini, and that Lamborghini was with stolen money. Do you know he got people's everybody wakes up to hear that story.
Yeah.
That is the power of story. Yeah. So it changes lives. And people don't forget stories. If you put somebody down in a classroom, say, I'm going to teach you chemistry, biology, they might forget it. Tell them a story about that topic. They won't forget it.
Yes, that
So
is.
when I discovered this in my early years of growing up, so many stories that were being told to me by my father, I found out that that is a powerful tool to use now to change lives as well.
That's great. That is great. Yeah, because just like you said, everybody human being are naturally nosy, and that is why social media is thriving because people wants to go and see what is happening, which is trending, which story. Indeed. So it all boils down to stories, and people want to hear something and see and read something. So yeah, that is a good one. So that takes us to the next question that has to do with the coaching program that is called Breaking Barriers. So
Yeah.
what inspired you to create this and what kind of transformation do you aim to help people achieve through that particular program?
Yes. Now, thanks very much again, Joe. Now, I've changed. I've been working with people across different strata of life. I've changed lives, like you said.
Yes.
And I find out that one of the things that in dealing with human beings is sometimes human beings do not know the amount of power that
Mm,
they
yes.
power that lies within them. Okay? They don't know it. They don't even realize that they've got so much power. And because of that, they have just no clue. And they're going about life without a sense of direction. Are you with me? Hello? Without a sense of direction. So consequently, what happens is that I thought about, are you with me?
Yes. Yes. I'm here.
So consequently, I thought about all the experiences I've had across different parts of the world.
Uh-huh.
Let me bring it together to design a program
Mm,
that will help people through life's journey to take them from where they to
uh-huh.
where they want to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest thing is that a lot of people do not even know where they want to be in life. Some go into stuff because people are doing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are here now. This is your passion. Since I knew you've always been into all this kind of stuff, this is your passion. So
Yeah.
you are at home. Anytime you do stuff like this,
Yeah.
videography, photography, that's your
Yeah.
passion.
That
You know
is
what I'm
my.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people might see you being successful and say, I would like to go into this as well. But
Yeah.
if it's not their passion, if it's not something that they love to do, they're just
Yeah.
going to go there and set themselves up for failure.
Earlier, yes.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
what Beyond Barriers does is to give people the right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Three things, if people want to be successful in life, that you want to watch out for: your mindset, your skill set,
Mm-hmm.
your tool set. What tools do you need in order to be successful in the area you want to go into?
Yes.
Okay. What skills do you need? What
Mm-hmm.
mindset do you need? I'll give you a very simple example. Astronauts who go to space, yeah,
Yes.
when they go to space, like the International Space Station,
Mm-hmm.
there gravity is almost zero.
Yes.
There is flotation.
Yeah.
Now, when we are here, gravity pulls us down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before people go to space, yeah, they have to have the mindset of people who want to go to space. Number one, you
Yes.
cannot go there and be drinking water like the way we're drinking water here.
Yeah.
You cannot go there and eat food like the way. So the first and most important thing is to have that mindset
Right. Yeah.
of
Of
the space.
how things work in this space.
That's it. That
Yeah.
mindset. Then the
Right.
next thing is they equip you with the tool set.
Yes.
And the next thing is the skills you will need.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to drink water, you don't just take it like I'm drinking now and drink it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be sucking it because it's when the bubble comes out, it floats. So how will you be sucking the water?
Mm-hmm.
Now that is what made me to go into breaking barriers, beyond barriers. It's actually a 12 weeks transformative journey. And I've just finished cohort one. We're just currently in cohort two, and it's amazing the results that cohort one produced. Because people did not even understand their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the foundation module is people discovering their strength. What is your strength?
Mm-hmm.
People don't even know their strength. Now,
Yeah.
if you don't know your strength, how can you apply your strength to your advantage?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've heard about a guy called Warren Buffett. Yeah,
Yes, obviously, I know what.
we know. So we know that. What do you know about Warren Buffett, for example?
Warren Buffett, I think, is one of the richest guys.
One of the richest guys. Okay. Do you know how he made his money?
I've not really researched about him.
Very good. Now, one of the key things that stands out with Warren Buffett is the fact that he's an investor.
Yes.
Now, he has the ability to analyze financial markets.
Mm-hmm.
He has an eye for businesses that are nosediving.
Mm-hmm.
And when people think that that business is nosediving, that means that the value of the business is going down. Yeah. He steps in and buys the business and brings it up and makes it move. You see, now that is a special skill he has.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has that skill set.
Yeah.
Okay. You have the skill set now of what you're doing now. Okay.
Yes.
Now you are using it to your advantage, to my advantage, and to the advantage of the community around us.
Yes.
Now you have discovered that strength. A lot of people have not discovered their strength. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the foundation module in what we're doing is people discovering their strengths, their weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
which is internal, and then we look at the external ones like threats and opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
How we can now leverage that to say, okay, based on my strengths,
Yeah.
how can I use that? What can I do in life that will make me stand out with my strengths? So breaking those barriers, traveling beyond those barriers now to lead you to, because some people have tried a lot in life. It seems as if life is not working for them. But the minute they come on our program, they discover themselves. It's like a magic wand. They discover themselves, say, okay, so this is the missing puzzle. All along, I've been trying to be a musician when I just realized that I'm not actually supposed to be a musician. I'm supposed to be maybe a videographer. Put that, you know what I'm saying? So little things like that. And people don't know that in Nigeria, we used to have a proverb that says that what you're looking for in Sokoto State
This is
is in Sokoto. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what you're looking for is the answer is within you.
Yes.
Why go for something fairer when your skill set is right in you? Your talent could just be selling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You start with selling from knocking your door from neighbor to neighbor, neighbor to neighbor to say, look, I'm selling. And then you start wasting time going on all these courses that you're spending thousands of money upon these. And the solution is right in front of you. So that is the genesis of my program, Beyond. So I work with my mate, Abraham Kaba. We work together to reach people, to take people from where they are to where they want to be. If they don't know where they want to be, help them define it, see it clearly, and go for it and get it.
Wow, that is fantastic. It's like a program where people come to discover the hidden part of their strength that
Fantastic.
they are not aware of,
Yep.
and probably what might have contributed to them not having a focus. It's a wonderful program that what I want to attend, and that is good. And so in our next question, we are going to go a little bit of a little bit off the discussion, but it's also something that does with your storytelling skill. So,
Yep.
how do you think stories can help young people, especially coming from our own background and our culture? How do you think a storytelling can help them to overcome barriers in life?
Very good question. Thanks very much for that, Joe. Number one, every story always have a hero.
Yes.
Every story you listen to, there's always a hero. There's always a main character in the story. Yeah. And every story will always end up sadly, happily, or uncertain ending.
Yes.
Now, let's stay with stories that have a victorious ending. Stories that have a happy ending. When I'm talking about a happy ending, I'm not talking about that kind of story you say, oh, and the prince and the princess married and lived happily after. That's not the kind of story I'm talking about there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about stories with characters that our people can relate to, especially those from, like you said, marginalized background. People of the same color of you and I. Yes. They need to see characters who have been successful.
Yes.
They need to see characters who have transcended life's problems and challenges, go to where they have been to. I give you an example. When I was growing up, apart from my father, one of the guys I used to look up to a lot was a guy called Dr. Ben Carson.
Yes.
Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. Okay.
Yes.
He came from he's a black guy from the United States. He came from a very underprivileged background, like me. But at a very young age of 30-something, he was appointed a director in Johns Hopkins University.
Yes.
And I thought that, my God, this guy has broken record at such a young age. Somebody like my color, okay, being appointed a director in Johns Hopkins University in the neurosurgery department. It's a fantastic thing. This is the kind of person, the kind of view I had in front of me. So how can we use these stories? Like I said, stories with characters that we can relate to.
Yes. Yes.
Now, it doesn't make any sense for people from our background to have a story with the central character, with the hero of different background. There's nothing wrong about that. Don't get me. There's nothing wrong. But they don't relate to it.
Yes.
It's like far-fetched. If you see somebody like the same background like you, the same perhaps geographical setting like you, like I give an example. You look at someone like a guy in Nigeria called Charis.
Yes.
Cosmos Madoka.
Yes.
He came from a very poor background.
Yeah.
He has been able to build an empire for himself. He's not an educated guy. I think the max he went to is primary 6.
No, he's from. I've met him before. He's primary.
Okay, or primary 3. Okay. So you now see that if you can see how someone like that has been successful, you bring that into a narrative, into a story.
Yeah.
Tell people from our background. They can relate to it.
Yes.
This is not something that you are trying to dig out from a history book. No. It's not something far-fetched. It's not, you're not traveling to Australia to bring in this character. You're not traveling to England. It's something in their backyard. Okay? So, number one is to have stories with the characters they can relate to. That's number one. Number two, these stories must be told. We must be intentional in telling these stories. Because if we do not tell our story, no one is going to tell our story for us.
Yes.
So we have to be intentional about telling the story. And these stories must be stories that will leave indelible print in the minds of our young people. Okay?
Yes.
Now, if you do not tell this story to them, don't forget that in story, people don't forget stories easily. Put them in a classroom and try to teach them math, they can forget it. Put them in a classroom, try to teach them astronomy, they'll forget it. Tell them a story about maths. Tell them a story about astronomy. Tell them, put the character in it. They will not forget it. So that is the power of story. It grips people. And then the way this story is told to is important.
Yes.
Stories are always told. When I was a little boy growing up in the village, we used to stay in the mango tree, under the mango tree, sometimes in the moonlight, and they would tell us stories, and we'll listen to it attentively. Yeah. So this story must be told in a relaxed way for the impact to sink. Now, that is the power of storytelling. So we can use this story to impact the lives of our young people in a very positive way. And also, it could be stories that ended sadly, which is if you go down that road, that is how you are going to end up too. So don't go down that road. So it could be like an example, okay? Avoid this. If you go get involved with drugs, if you go and get involved with this, if you go and get involved, this is where you're going to end up. Look at this person. This is where he ended up. But flip the coin look at this person who went down this way. He was successful.
Yeah.
He was victorious. So, and also, very importantly, is to bring people out from their background.
Yeah.
If you can dig out people from their background, say, this is like you, we call it relatability. You can relate to that. Okay? This is somebody from your background. This is what he has achieved. Like I just told you about Cosmos Maduka.
Yes.
I told you about Ben Carson. Look at Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt didn't come from a wealthy background, for example.
Yes.
Okay? So when you look at all these people who have been successful, you look at people like I'm this guy that used to own UB.
Tony Elumelu.
Tony Elumelu, you know what I'm saying? He went to Edo State University. Edo State University, then they used to call it they used to call it Bender State University or something like that, Ekboma. Yeah.
Ekboma, yeah.
Now, by all standards, that university is not a first generation university in Nigeria.
No.
You know, when you talk about universities in Nigeria back in the days, it used to be Ibadan, Ife, Nsukka, all those first generation universities, okay? But if you look at somebody, say, look at this guy, he didn't go to Unila, he didn't go to Ibadan, he didn't go to Nsukka, he went from Ekboma, which is a village.
Yeah.
I went to Ekboma myself. So if he could go to Ekboma and come out and be successful, then what excuse do you have too?
Wow.
Chris Oyakilome, okay, I'm not trying to plagiarize here. Chris Oyakilome went to Ekboma as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have people from, that's what I'm saying, relatability. If you bring out people from backgrounds that people can relate to, yeah, then it has a profound effect on the people.
Okay. That is saying a wonderful narration, and that brings me to my next question. How do you think that we are faring in that regard, where we have used stories of people who have actually made an impact in their various good impact in their various choosing career? How do you think we are faring, we as people are faring in that regard, in putting those kind of characters in front of our young people? How do you think we are faring in doing that? Because you look as if there's a gap in putting those characters in front of people, because sometimes it's what you are looking. It's either it inspires you or molds you. So how do you think that we as people are doing? Are we putting more effort in trying to project those characters to our young people? How do you think we are doing in that area?
That's a very, very important question you've asked, and I'm very glad you brought that question up. You've already said that there's a gap there. That's obvious. I don't think we are doing too well, to be honest with you, in that area. Now, I'll give you the reasons why I don't think we're doing too well. The intentionality is not there. We're not intentional about it. The first and most important thing is the curriculum, because when children are born, they say you have to go to school anyways. And when you go to school, apart from those who are homeschooled, if you go to school, it's the curriculum that the government, the education board gives to you that you deliver.
Yes.
Okay, that you get delivered. So whatever they shove down your throat is what you take. If a child goes to school, for example, and is learning about William Shakespeare, give me as an example, okay? It doesn't relate much with William Shakespeare. You see what I'm saying? It does not relate much with William Shakespeare. But if he went down and there is a story about him, related to him, that he relate to a character related to him, that will make sense to him. And that is where storytelling again comes in at its best. Now, there's a lot of avenues now for telling stories. Social media is the #1 storytelling platform. All kinds of content are being generated these days.
Yeah.
But what kind of content is it being generated? Some of it, like you would agree with me, is just absolute nonsense.
Yes.
We're talking about this intentionality to put that narrative in front of our young people that will inspire them to go ahead and make successes. Now, those storylines that they should put in front of them, those are not the storylines that go viral.
Yes.
The things that go viral are those sensational stuff that has either little or no value.
See.
Because human beings are naturally nosy. They like hearing that things has happened to people. They just want to hear sensational stuff. Oh, this person was in the car and the brand new car he bought. Did you hear that he smashed the brand new car in an accident because he was drunk? That makes big news. It makes a lot of news. So we need to deliberately put in front of our young people these masterpieces, these characters that will inspire them.
Yeah.
Success. That they can relate to. Now, in the UK here, October is coming around the corner, and we have what they call the Black History Month. Yeah. It is one of those ways of putting in front of that community, okay, these characters that have been successful, okay, in the different areas of life. But here is my question or my concern. Why do we have to wait till October that we have once in a year, a month, where these stories are being told to these people? There should be a lot more effort. And that is where you and I come in. That is what I believe that this is one of your contribution towards putting this in front of the people, the audience, to see that there is something we can do. So parents owe their children that responsibility of telling these stories. Stories that will have a profound impact on their children. Opposed to sitting down there and maybe chatting things that don't have value to them. Tell them these stories that will inspire them. Tell them that you come from a culture whereby we had people who were great warriors. We have people who have achieved things in life. You go to this country, for example, the UK that we're living in right now, you walk into any surgery, any GP, majority of the doctors in this country are from either African descent, Nigerian doctors, and people from India as well. These are stories that our people need to hear.
Yes.
Why are we not hearing these stories? There needs to be that constant effort to project these kind of stories. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to promote doctors now. No, but it's part of it.
Yeah, it's part of it. That is actually one of the key objectives of this show.
Right.
Bring these people who we need to project to the limelight.
That's right. In the tech space, there are so many people. A lot of our young men, young women have in the tech space. You go and check out the business analysts in this country. Majority of them are from our background.
Yes.
Product analysts, majority of them are from our background.
Managers, yes.
You go there, a lot of our people, we need to project this to the young people. Yeah, so that they can see that this story of our people is not a bad story.
Yeah.
It's actually a very powerful story. Look at the railways in this country, the underground. Who built the underground? It was slave labor that was used to build this underground.
Yeah.
Why are not these stories told to our people that this underground structure that we see all over today, it was us who built it? And we should be proud of what we did.
We did, yes. That is what will inspire the next generation to believe in themselves.
Exactly. So when you go into the tube and enter the tube in London and the tube driver drives you, you are in a tunnel. Know that your great-grandfather's blood
built it, yeah.
Built it. And you should be proud of it.
Yes.
We are immigrants. Anywhere in the world you go to, immigrants have the spirit of resilience. They build the economy of a country, immigrants, because they come in with an indomitable spirit, a spirit that cannot be defeated.
Yeah, yes.
You know what it means for somebody to come from Nigeria here or Cameroon or any part of Africa and they say no recourse to public funds? Okay? When they say no recourse to public, it means the guy has to work himself out to make ends meet. what
Yes.
other people cannot do, what
Yes.
even the natives cannot do.
Yes. That is. It takes a lot of doing. It takes a lot of fighting spirit to be able to overcome all those hurdles.
Yeah.
So that sort to our next question. So you have published several collection of short stories and poems. Can you share how your writing and experiences as an author have shaped your journey as an educator and a mentor?
Thank you. Again, like I said, storytelling to me is just my way of, when you go into, I taught in inner city schools, okay?
Yeah.
And inner city schools, the kids are very tricky there, man. The kids, they're very, very tricky. You need to have a way of breaking into them. And the way of breaking into them to me was story.
Mm.
Now, again, I got to go back to my roots now. I give you this little story. One day I was in a classroom. It was during summertime, and we had to open the windows. Yeah, during summertime. During summertime, you have these wasps and bees flying around. Yeah, and sometimes they come into the classroom. And when they come into the classroom, it's like all hell is let loose. Okay, all the children, as if the devil has come in to eat somebody. Just a wasp.
Mm.
But when I grew up, we used to pick up wasp with my. I used to pick up wasp. I used to pick up bees
And throw it away.
and throw it away. So I remember one day. I'm not joking. This story. When the wasp came into the classroom and everybody was running helter skelter, and the wasp landed in a little corner somewhere. Walked to the wasp, picked it by the wings
Mm-hmm.
to the window, and threw it out.
Mm-hmm.
I know if back in Nigeria, what would have done would have put it on the floor and squashed it. But here, you don't want to say, oh, they killed it. So I went to the window and threw it out.
Yeah.
Joe, I was a hero from that. I was a hero. So I'm walking around the school. I'm walking there, everybody come to Mr. Mana, Mr. Mana, Mr. Mana. I say, yes. Is it true? I heard you held the wasp with your bare hands. Is it true? You held it, you held it. I heard that you held it wasp with your two bare hands, and threw out the window. Now, again, it's because of the culture I came.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that class I used to have was a very tricky class. From that day, they calmed down. They began to listen to me because I was looked at as a hero. It's man.
Yeah.
Held the bee, held the wasp with his two bare hands, and threw it out the window. Now, so my stories, okay, are inspired from my day-to-day occurrences with this.
Yeah.
I weave my stories from my interactions with the students, from my travels around the world, from my interaction, and also I have a track record of meeting with very unusual characters. Characters that it's like you're bringing them out of a book. But me, I meet with them on my day-to-day livelihood. If I told you a story now about a character, you'd be thinking, is this for real? It is real. That's the character I met. You see what I'm saying? So I have this, and I bring these stories in, and it's been, so this is what inspires me, and this is what my stories are made out of. They are made out of this encounters I have on a day-to-day basis. And they form the corpus, they form the body of my writings. And I publish them in volumes, and more are coming.
Wow. That is good. That is good. So you have worked closely with young people,
Yeah.
particularly those of black origin. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges these kids face today, and how can they address them?
That's a very, very tricky question you've asked. Now, the biggest challenges they face are, number one, lack of sufficient role model in front of them. Lack of sufficient positive role model in front of them. That's number one. Number two is identity crisis.
That is a big issue.
Big issue. Some of
Yeah.
them, their parents come from either the Caribbean or African background,
Mm-hmm.
and they are in a culture where the styles of parenting are very different.
Mm-hmm.
The parents come from a culture where maybe discipline was held in very high esteem,
Mm-hmm.
and the style of disciplining is not the same like here.
Mm-hmm.
Come here, and the style of disciplining is a little different, and there's this imbalance,
Yeah.
and then it brings a culture clash, and then the children get lost in the process.
Mm-hmm.
They just we miss them in the process. They slip through the process without that boundary, that concept of boundary to put them in check.
Yeah.
That's another issue. Another issue is the issue of split parenting,
Mm-hmm.
broken homes as well.
Oh, that one is a programmer for the office on.
Yeah, broken homes as well. So those are the three key things I would identify as the major issues now. So not having enough positive role models in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you find out that because the country on its own is a very, very tight country, very tough to survive. So you find out that if they have a dad, the dad has to work nonstop. He's going out to work, he comes back, the mom has to go to work. So the home front is not well guarded.
Mm-hmm.
They are left majority of the time to their own devices.
Mm-hmm.
If one parent has to stay home to look after the child so that there can be effective support,
Mm-hmm.
find out that they struggle financially.
Yeah.
They struggle because they just struggle.
Yeah.
Because when the man goes to work or the woman goes to work and comes back, the money is barely enough to meet up with either rent or this payment or that payment. And then the child these are the factors affecting these things.
Yeah. That is obvious. It's obvious. Unfortunately, it's creating a lot of problem in society.
Yeah, yeah. But
Honest.
how can we address them? I don't know. Did you ask that bit? How can we address them?
Yes. How can we these issues? How can we address them?
We can address them by, again, it has to be intentional
Mm-hmm.
by placing these children, telling them stories.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll go back to storytelling. They need to be told positive stories, stories of success,
Mm-hmm.
stories of victory, stories of conquest,
Mm-hmm.
stories of great things that our people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
This model has to be put in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They have to see, in school, there has to be assembly
Mm-hmm.
where people of this my color go into the school
And address them.
and address them, talk to them,
Yeah.
not just talk to them, interact with them.
Yeah.
Okay, there should be that conscious effort of bringing people in so that they see successful people, their
Mm-hmm.
own people coming in, interacting with them, have a workshop with them, spend time with them, and let them ask these people questions too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just going to the assembly and you talk at them, and you go away and they clap. No, it should be that interaction, quality interaction. It should be built into the curriculum where you bring in people, they come and talk to them, they talk back, they interact, sessions
Yeah.
once every week throughout the term, and
Mm.
they begin to see these positive images.
Yeah.
Then at home, there should be more effort during dinner time for these kind of positive stories to be told to these people. They see these images, and for those who watch the TV, they should turn on the TV and see the channels of these people, positive things, so that they
Mm.
start thinking along those lines. Okay, but the thing is that again, we live in a social media age, and the content that's being generated is almost like free to everybody now. So
Mm.
we have to be deliberate in educating our young ones at home about the need to see the positive thing at every point in time. In my
Mm.
own opinion, it's got to be intentional, and it's a big task to address it.
Mm.
But it starts from home and school. Home.
Yeah. Well, basically, everything starts from where our homes.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, as someone who has led a youth program like EYM Academy and the mentoring initiatives,
Yeah.
what is one piece of advice you give to young people to help them build confidence?
Yeah. Again, we have to go back to our roots.
Mhm,
Like I told you, if you go through the tube, you
mhm,
find out that these were built by our great grandparents.
mhm,
If you look at the history of this country,
mhm,
during for example, after the Second World War, during the Industrial Revolution, they went out to Pakistan, they went to the Caribbean and brought in bus drivers, brought in people to work in the textile industries and all of that. We need to tell them the stories, their history. They need to know their story.
mhm,
Again, it goes back to the story. And they need to have the confidence to know that they can achieve anything in life.
mhm.
We cannot squash their dreams. They should feel free to dream,
Yeah,
be whatever they want to be. They should have that confidence to know that it doesn't matter whether they live in any part of the world, they have that right to dream and
yeah,
aspire to be whatever they want to be. They should have that confidence.
that's yeah, that is the key. With so many accomplishments you have accomplished, and from teaching to consulting to writing, how do you balance all these roles and still find time for sports and personal hobbies?
It's all about discipline, Joe. It's
Yeah.
all about discipline. It's all about, I'm a very, very routine person. It's all
Mhm,
about also effective time management.
mhm,
My day starts my day starts like about, let's say, 6 in the morning. Okay. So 6 in the morning, I'm up. I have to do my exercise. So during
mhm,
the process of doing my morning exercise, I can combine two, three things at that time I'm doing the exercise. Like I do video recordings as well. So when I'm going for my walk,
mhm.
I always get myself well prepared. I go with my stick and I do my recording during my walk. So it's not just exercise, I'm doing my recording. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that way of being able to utilize your time effectively.
Mhm,
Yeah. So once you're able to back, and there are so many strategies on how to use your time effectively to be able to do all these things. Yeah. And also, incidentally, my kids are now big, so they
mhm.
don't require that much attention like when they were a lot younger.
Younger,
Yeah.
yeah.
When they were a lot younger, time was a bit, I needed to balance it, but now my time is a little bit freer now. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So in your profile, you mentioned that you enjoy having a meaningful conversation with people from all walks of life.
Yep.
So how do you think those conversations have enriched your personal and professional life?
Thank you for that question. I believe very firmly in the fact that you don't meet people in life for just the sake of meeting with people in life.
Mm,
There is a purpose for meeting with people in life,
yeah,
and you can make your this. All the people I've met in my life, I've always learned something from them.
yeah.
I was traveling one time from Moscow. I was flying from Moscow to Abu Dhabi on
Mm,
Aeroflot, and the guy who was sitting next to me was the president of a shoe manufacturing company,
mm,
and he told me that his factory is in France. He
mm,
told me that he has invested a lot in Eastern Europe, that when he started investing in Eastern Europe,
mm,
people thought he was crazy because Eastern Europe had not joined the EU then.
mm,
So they thought he was crazy, but he said he knew that a time would come that they would join.
mm,
So to me, what that did for me was the power of foresight,
mm,
the power of looking 10 years ahead,
mhm,
power of looking 15 years ahead to try to project what will happen. Every person I meet with in life, you inclusive, I always learn something from, always take something from it. Your passion for photography. I remember when we had for Alpha's 50th birthday and we had
mm.
to do an interview, you know,
Yeah,
spontaneous, it
yeah.
was a spontaneous thing. You call me, said, "Uwem, come, you can do this. Come on, let's do this." And we
Mm,
did it. You see, so there's always, when you keep your mind open, you don't
yeah,
close your mind, you
yes.
find out that anybody you meet in life, you can always learn something from that person.
That is brilliant. So finally, what next for you? Are there any upcoming projects or goals? Are you particularly anything that you are particularly excited about?
Mm-hmm. I'm always excited. That's number one. I'm always excited about life, anyways. But I've got some exciting things coming up. Like I've got 2 books I need to publish this year. I just looked at it and I said, "Oh my word, time!" This year I've ventured into a lot of technical writing. I used to be a very creative person before, but this year I've been doing a lot of technical writing. So now, and I forgot that I have not even sent in my publication for this year to my editor. So I just sent it to her last week. Okay. So that is going to come out this year. And I'm also going to have my book of quotes. I've got a lot of quotes that and stories from these quotes that I'm going to publish into a couple of series here. So that is hopefully going to come out this year or next year. It's going to come out. And of course, I'm looking forward to exciting things. On next month, the Black History Month at the City Bank of New York, I think I'm going to be speaking there to a couple of people there on the Black History Month on one of my latest stories, The Travel Tales of My Father. So that's exciting as well. Part 2 of Beyond Barriers has just started. That's exciting for me as well. So a lot of exciting things are happening, yes, in my life, yeah.
Well, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. What is your final words to our viewers, especially young audience who you want to use storytelling to educate and to create an impact in their life?
It's very simple. 2 things I have for them. Number 1, be yourself. Just be yourself. Wherever you are, be yourself. Don't ever let anybody make you feel that by being yourself, you are not up to standard. Be proud of who you are. Whether you're short, tall, big, whatever, be yourself. Number 2, surround yourself with positive images, successful people in different areas of life. We have a saying in my language, a proverb in my language that says that if you follow person, we don't go market before go market, you don't go miss road.
Yes.
Yeah. So look at those people who have started the race before you successfully. What did they do that was right? Don't go to reinvent the wheel. If you want to go into videography, there's somebody like Joe who has done it before. What did he do? You can learn from him. The mistakes that he made, you don't need to go and repeat the mistake. You can, if you listen to him, you can avoid repeating that mistake.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 pieces of advice I would give to our people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Uwem Umana. It's been a wonderful having you on the show today. I will bring you to the show again to really discuss some other issues that is bothering, especially on our own community. And that particular word that you use, projecting a character that the kids and the youths can relate to.
Yeah.
So till next time, we'll have a wonderful time and enjoy the program that is coming up. We wish it a success and have a wonderful.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much for putting this together as well. That's very, very ingenious of you. I really appreciate you putting this on. And I know that this program is going to go places, and it's going to not just go places, it's going to create the necessary impact on people, more importantly, our people.
Yes. All right, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.